A little over 2 months ago, we started in Los Angeles, then we flew to Toronto, then Brooklyn, then to Las Vegas, then back home, and now here we are back in Las Vegas. It is the final leg of the summer-long tour that is Mayweather-McGregor. We have made it. It is fight week. This is the most important part of the tour. And we are inside the media center here in Las Vegas, and I'm alongside my traveling mate for the last 2 months. We have been to every single stop on this tour except for one, London. I do believe Esther Lynn was the only media member to attend every single stop. So we're second place to the GOAT. But here we are, Marc. Final stretch. We made it. And we were going to talk about the first day, August 22nd, the pomp and circumstance. That is the grand arrivals outside the T-Mobile Arena. Unfortunately, I feel like our mood has been soured a little bit after hearing about the Jon Jones news, but let's try to put that news to the side. We did, by the way, do a reaction video to that news, so if you want to hear what we thought about it, go check that out. But for now, we're going to talk Mayweather-McGregor. Earlier today, here on day one, officially of Fight Week, they had the grand arrivals. They were outside the T-Mobile Arena, and it was sweltering. It was around 98, 99 degrees Fahrenheit, and we were standing out there for like 3-4 hours. At one point, I thought I died and went to hell. It was so hot. I mean, it was so hot that there was sweat just pouring off of my face. Considering all that, did you enjoy this? Was this a fun day for you?
Remember 2 weeks ago when we were at Floyd Mayweather's gym
Yes.
and I was complaining about how hot it was? I would have taken that gladly today because the sun was so bad. But again, we're talking about the temperature, and no one at home really gives a damn about that whatsoever. I think that it might have taken away from the fans who were in attendance. I think that they were restless because both guys were late also today. I think that the crowd was somewhat subdued, although they were pretty excited to see McGregor. Definitely more of a McGregor crowd. Some Irish people were in town for this, but yeah, I think indoors is probably a better, if you really want to get the maximum amount of people. Outdoors in Las Vegas in August, probably not the best idea.
Yeah, and a lot of MMA fans were kind of confused as to what this was. Historically in boxing, for a big boxing match, they do this sort of grand arrival thing, and usually it's at the hotel. So it's typically in Las Vegas at the MGM when it's a Mayweather fight, and they come through the lobby, and it's like, hey, we're here, and there's marching bands. When Mayweather fought Pacquiao, it was at the arena, and it was a massive crowd. Every time he fights, it's a big deal. And this time they didn't do that for whatever reason. We're not quite sure why. They did it outside, as we said. And it still felt like a big deal. The PR people here told us that there was more media at these grand arrivals than those other big ones. The Canelo fight, the Pacquiao fight. It just kind of felt like doing it outside drained a lot of the people involved. Putting that to the side, what did you make of it all? Mayweather coming out there first, saying what he said, looking how he looked, and I know you were part of the writer's scrum, which I was not privy to, and then, of course, McGregor coming out there. And, by the way, before we get to that, it was a little bit disorganized because as Mayweather's team was leaving, McGregor's team was coming out, and they actually crossed each other. And I saw some footage from a local photographer, and there was actually a bit of a scuffle. They were pushing each other. Floyd and Conor didn't push each other, but the two teams, there's no love lost there, started pushing. So it was a little disorganized. Overall, though, from just a spectacle standpoint, what did you make of it?
Sometimes the chaos can kind of add to things a little bit, and I've noticed that more and more from the tour to workouts to here. The chaos kind of works for these promotions because it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. McGregor and Floyd Mayweather today got into a little bit of a thing, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit. But I did like it. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was weird that when Mayweather came out, like all the photographers and video people like stormed the stage, and the fans were getting really upset because they couldn't even see Floyd. They came to see the fighters and they couldn't even see him because there was like probably 150 cameramen around him. So that was odd. And one thing that it wasn't just me who didn't know, and you didn't who didn't know what really to expect today. McGregor didn't know what to expect. He said today in the writers' scrum, in the print scrum, that they didn't tell him anything. He thought there was going to be a face-off. There wasn't a face-off. That's actually what he said. He told Mayweather's team as they crossed. He said, "Well, you're too afraid to do a face-off." But I guess that wasn't. They don't do face-offs, I guess, in these grand arrivals. I don't know. It was a thing. It was something to promote the fight. I think it was effective for what it was, and we got what 4 more days of this stuff to go.
Let's talk about our friend Paulie Malignaggi.
Yeah.
Actually, when we came into this media center earlier today,
I think right in this
yes,
spot.
right in this spot, the first person that we saw was Brooklyn's own Paulie Malignaggi, who then proceeded to give us a 30-minute breakdown of the now infamous knockdown, pushdown incident in the sparring session. So Paulie's there, and I was kind of watching him in the back the whole time, seeing what he was going to do. And there's a point, we have it on camera, where he actually tries to go up to Adi Attar, who is Conor McGregor's manager, and then Conor and Paulie go face to face, and they exchange some words. And once again, somehow Paulie Malignaggi is able to sort of nuzzle his way into the story, to the point where we're going back to the media center after the grand arrivals, and he's the guy who we're talking about. He's a part of the content that we're pushing out. This guy has done a phenomenal job, and the fans keep saying enough of Paulie, but they keep clicking, and they keep talking, and they keep reacting. I think he's doing an amazing job. Do you think it has reached a point where it's a little too much, where he's compromising his position on Saturday night, or is he still kind of straddling that line?
I mean, I think it's probably okay. So if he's able to get this fight, it doesn't really matter if Showtime pulls him off the broadcast, right? Because he'll make tens of millions for that fight, if not more, if they were to box sometime next year. Who cares? For him, who cares if he gets thrown from the Showtime broadcast? What's going to be really interesting is that apparently he was saying to us that he actually has to interview, or at least be in on the interview with McGregor for Sky Sports and Showtime. That should be interesting to see how that shakes up. But I think
no chance he actually is the one interviewing.
But that would be something.
That would be something, but it's not going to happen.
If they're wise, that's great television. But I think that last week I was a little bit fatigued of McGregor and Malignaggi. I think that was a little bit much, because the media tour that Paulie went on, I think he talked to. God bless him. I think every single media outlet that reached out to him, he did end up talking to, and I respect that. But I think it was a little bit too much for the end of last week. But now I feel like it is rejuvenated a little bit, because they got to meet. The storyline has advanced, so to speak. There's more to talk about now. And call me crazy. I know maybe people at home don't agree, or they're done, or they're sick of this. I'm kind of interested in McGregor versus Malignaggi. I really do. I think that, to me, I would love to see that fight in 2018, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does that before he goes back to the UFC. I don't know. We'll see.
I just think it's amazing how he keeps this up.
Yeah.
He doesn't allow it to die, and there seems to be a new layer to this.
Yeah.
All while we're here to cover a massive fight involving one of the greatest boxers of all time, but we still can't stop talking about the retired Paulie Malignaggi, who's a TV broadcaster. It's amazing.
Yep.
So this scene is amazing as well. This reminds me very much, I had the privilege of covering the 2010 Winter Olympics with our cameraman Casey, and this is very much what it feels like. It's this massive media center. This is not what we are used to in MMA. There's more media here than they tell me for any of the other Mayweather fights. I mean, you could see it's pretty empty right now, but in the back there's going to be a ton of media outlets there, Radio Row they call it, TV stations galore, and we'll be there as well, broadcasting the MMA Hour for the next 3 days, plus the MMA Beat live on Twitter, exclusively on Twitter. It's MMAfighting.twitter.com. That's the home where you can watch all our live shows. Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday we'll be doing the MMA Beat at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the MMA Hour from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, another edition of the MMA Hour. And oh, by the way, there's a press conference tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, final press conference involving one Conor McGregor and one Floyd Mayweather. I think I got it all. Anything else you want to add about today?
Well,
other than the heat?
I just want to say there's a coffee bar here, so that's for me that's very important. I'm just going to be hanging out at the coffee bar all day and making sure that I'm well caffeinated for the week ahead.
Yes. Well, I'm happy to hear that. They have pulled out all the stops here. They've got a coffee bar. They've got free bottles of water. This is a big deal, my friends. This is a very big deal, and we're trying to pace ourselves because there's a lot more to come. And if Tuesday is any indication, we are in for a wild ride in the final leg of the Mayweather-McGregor summer-long tour. Here we are, fight week. It's actually happening. Conor McGregor is actually fighting Floyd Mayweather, Marc. I don't know if you heard the news, but this is actually going down. It's all kind of still surreal. It hasn't really sunk in yet.
I would almost not believe it if I didn't see all the posters around us. Like everywhere, I can't actually look without seeing both of their faces next to each other. So I think I'm pretty safe pretty confident in saying they will actually fight on Saturday
I think
night.
we have reached the level that is called delirium at this point. So I'm going to say goodnight on Tuesday. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching our coverage of day 1 of Fight Week. We're back tomorrow, as I said, MMA Hour, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, the press conference at 4. Do not go anywhere. You know we got you covered. It's Mayweather-McGregor Fight Week. Keep it locked right here on MMAfighting.com.